side. I simplified it. In this video, we're going to learn how to simplify trigonometric expression. Basically, in order to simplify, we're going to use adding, subtracting, and sometimes factoring. And mostly, we're going to use the fundamental trigonometric identity, like tangent equal to sine over cosine, or cotangent is cosine over sine, secant is 1 over cosine, and cosecant is 1 over sine. So by using those fundamental identity and knowing basic algebra like adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, and finding common denominator sometimes, we should be able to simplify one expression. Now I'm going to make a few examples on the whiteboard. So as I said, we're going to do adding, subtracting, sometimes factoring, dividing, finding a common denominator to simplify. For example, sine of theta divided by 1 plus cosine of theta plus cosine of theta over sine of theta. So we need to simplify this. So we're going to make it equal sign. So we are adding the equal sign and we're going to simplify it. Beside this algebra, we also have bag of formula. Inside of the bag, if that's our formula, all the formulas are inside. The first identity, for example, we know cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equal to 1. We know tangent of theta equal to sine theta over cosine theta. We know cotangent of theta is cosine theta over sine of theta. We also know secant of theta equal to 1 over cosine of theta, and cosecant of theta equal to 1 over sine of theta. So how do we start here? I would like to find a common denominator between 1 plus cosine theta and sine of theta. So the common denominator should be sine of theta multiplied by 1 plus cosine theta. So sine of theta multiplied by 1 plus cosine theta will be the common denominator. So here we had sine theta, here we had cosine theta. We're going to add. In this fraction, we are missing sine theta. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by sine of theta. We have here. And this one, we're going to multiply by 1 plus cosine theta. So now, I'm going to write it in one fraction, which is sine theta, 1 plus cosine theta. We get sine squared theta from this one, plus, this is a plus, cosine theta times 1. We get cosine of theta plus cosine theta times cosine theta is cosine squared theta equal to sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta. The answer is 1. We are using this formula. 1 plus cosine theta, and on the denominator we have sine theta parenthesis 1 plus cosine theta. So we have 1 plus cosine theta, 1 plus cosine theta, they cancel. The final answer is 1 over sine of theta. So we simplify this expression to 1 over sine of theta. You also can write it cosecant of theta. Let's have another example. Sine of x plus cotangent of x times cosine of x. So we need to simplify. So in order to simplify, we know what we need to do. Beside algebra, we need to use fundamental identities. So we make an equal sign, because this is an expression, you make it equal sign. Sine of x, we cannot do anything, so I'm going to write sine of x plus is same place, but instead of cotangent of x, we can put cosine of x over sine of x. Then we go back, multiply by cosine of x. This is equal to sine of x plus cosine square of x over sine of x. By finding common denominator, we're going to get sine square of x plus cosine square of x divided by sine of x. This is equal to 1 over sine of x. You can keep it like this, or you can write cosecant of x. So we simplify this big expression to this one. Let's have another example. One over 1 plus sine of theta plus 1 over 1 minus sine of theta. So they ask us to simplify this, or sometimes they might ask perform the addition and simplify. It would be a great idea if you pause the video and then you do the simplify, and then unpause the video to see how do I simplify this. So they make an equal sign. You should see a difference between question like this and proving identity. Proving identity, there is something on the left hand side and something on the right hand side, and we need to get from left to right or right to left. But question adding and subtracting or simplifying, there's nothing over here. Actually, we need to get to the other side by simplifying. So we have only sine of theta. We would do the best thing we can do is finding a common denominator, which common denominator between 1 plus sine theta and 1 minus sine theta will be 1 plus sine theta multiplied by 1 minus sine of theta. 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta. On the first fraction, we're going to have 1 minus sine theta, and this one we're going to have 1 plus sine theta. Because I multiply this by 1 minus sine theta, 1 minus sine theta, and multiply this one plus sine theta, 1 plus sine. So here, this is equal to 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta. On the top we have 1 minus sine theta plus, which is this plus, 1 plus sine of theta. Minus sine theta plus sine theta will go away. We get 1 plus 1 is 2, divided by 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine theta. So we got to this level. So you have to ask yourself, can we continue, or this is a final answer? Usually for question to ask, when they ask to simplify, we need to make it to a smaller form. So let's try. We have 1 plus sine theta, 1 minus sine theta. When you multiply this, you get 1 minus sine squared theta. How did we get this? So you can use conjugate rule, like a 1 minus b times 1 plus b equal to a squared minus b squared. That's what I did here, which is 1 squared minus sine squared. Or you can multiply, you should get the same thing. So 1 plus sine theta times 1 minus sine of theta. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times sine, negative sine theta is negative sine of theta. Sine theta times 1 is positive sine theta. Sine theta times negative sine theta is negative sine squared theta. These two will go. We end up having 1 minus sine squared theta, which is here. And 1 minus sine squared theta is cosine squared theta. So we got 2 over 2 cosine squared theta. You can leave it like this, or you can write 2 secant squared theta. Where is secant coming from? Because we had 2 over cosine squared theta. This is same as 2 multiplied by 1 over cosine squared theta. This is same as 2 times 1 over cosine of theta squared. 1 over cosine theta is secant theta. The square will go there. We get 2 secant squared theta, which is